podcast in the rabbit hole. Connect every emotion, experience adventure, struggle, pain, and achievement. Know the past, feel the future, and live this moment with Nisha Harale on Niche Radio.
Rabbit Hole with me, Nisha Harale, and my dearest superstar, a hip hopper, Ishq Bector.
Yo, what's up, Nish?
Ishq and I have been flatmates for the longest time when we were living together as flatmates. And he's very particular about his diet. Do you still stick to your brown rice?
Yeah. You know what? The wifey gets a little pakad with all the healthy stuff, so I have to keep switching it up.
Yeah, he's got a lovely, gorgeous, super soul wife, and her name is Priyanka. We all dearly love her, and she's a sweetheart, and she's a doctor as well, a psychiatrist, right?
Yes.
How is that coming along? Like, both you guys are doctors. You're also a doctor.
Well, I've done, acupuncture for musculoskeletal pain management. So I did traditional Chinese medicine before I dove into music as my main career.
Ishq, how is Canada?
Well, it's cool to move back here. As you know, I moved back here right before COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of glad that we kind of just needed a change, and the wifey especially, I never thought I would leave Mumbai actually. But once I got married and the wifey, we're both from my hometown in Winnipeg. And she studied quite a bit in Vancouver as well as Boston. So she just kind of she had great job opportunities available to her here. So, and my work, I was like, I can do my work from anywhere. And luckily that kind of that went in overdrive when COVID hit, because nobody was allowed into anybody's studio. So it was fine that I was anywhere. Because at first when I moved, I lost a lot of work. Because you know how Mumbai is, out of sight, out of mind. Uh-huh. But now, because people are the norms have kind of changed, people aren't as used to going to the studios of the music directors to hear the music. Everything is done online. It kind of put me back in the game.
I've seen your journey from a small one, not even a bedroom. I think it was a studio apartment that you had started in Mumbai. That was
your apartment. Remember, when you I would stay up all night.
Yeah.
At yours. At your apartment, and then just work and work and work.
Yeah. I would party the whole night, come back, and you would still be working and making me listen to new beats. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long journey. So how has the journey been for you?
It's amazing. I'm so lucky and so blessed to be a working artist, because it's so hard to get for an artist to get work, because it's even if you give a hit song, you still are, you still start back, you have to keep giving. You can't just sit back, and it's not guaranteed. We have to work tooth and nail just to get a project. The song has to be right. It has to fit the whole team, in that way. And then at the same time, when I first launched my music career, the music landscape was very, very different than it is now. Now it's back then it was record companies were the gatekeepers. Now it's the artists have become the record companies, and the gatekeepers are the audience.
Of Bollywood was the main segment. It was difficult as an artist as well to break through, because everything was about singing and Bollywood steps and that kind of dhanchak music. There was item songs were huge that time, and here you were a person who came with so many brilliant ideas from the West into a city where everything was predominantly captured by Bollywood. How was that transition as an artist, saying that, hey, listen to me, let's keep aside Bollywood, and or maybe find a medium where we could both, kind of merge. Was that difficult?
So yeah, when I first, like 10 years ago, there was no music industry in Mumbai. There was a film industry, and music was a part of that.
Correct.
Before my time, there was an indie pop revolution. Like that was when we were all growing up, like with the Alicia Chanoys and our great friend Anaida,
Yeah.
and Lucky Ali and Baba Segal and all them. That was like a pop revolution. That was like the first pop installment. And then after that, it kind of faded out, and Bollywood took over. And Bollywood was the main, like the only thing. So, and then when we came, when I did, like, people don't know, like, because you were a part of my journey since my first record released. My first record was Ishq Bector on Universal Music.
Yeah, I was a part of it.
Which did not do much for my career. Second album was like Desi hip hop. It was on BMG Crescendo before the big companies merger. That also did not do much for my career. The third album was the Hip Hopper and Daku Daddy album, which cemented me, which allotted me afforded me the opportunity to call any music director, movie producer, and be like, yo, could I come to the studio? Pay me, don't pay me, give me credit, don't give me credit. I just want to get in where I fit in. And I was that song because, like, a hip hopper or Daku Daddy, the music directors like Anu Malik or Himesh Reshamia or Sajid Bajid, they were like, yo, my kids bump your track. So yeah, come on. We would love to hear what you have and kind of get your energy into the music.
Entire dynamics has changed ever since social media has come in. And like you said, now, your judgment is right there with the audience. But at the same time, it's very scary because, young artists, aspiring artists who are out there, who are really talented and really creative, don't get those likes as much because they're not popular or people don't know them, because there's a lot of marketing that goes into it as well, even on social media.
It's all about instant gratification now.
Correct. Yeah. Or that, that patience, or, it will happen, or the bigger picture. Everything is just so short-sighted that it has to happen now. I put a post, I have to have like, 1 million likes, or you have to have that many comments. And it's scary because not everything can go according to plan A. And people need to understand that there's always plan B. What do you have to say to these young aspiring artists who go through these disappointments and depression?
So it's going to sound a little privileged for me to say this, just because I'm sitting on I have like a brand, somewhat of a brand, like whatever it is, if it's
you had to build that brand. You had to build that brand over the years.
Yeah, because I have that brand to fall back on, and I never really kind of milked it as much as I should. But now I realize, like, when I'm releasing songs all the time and I'm talking to my distributors and they're like, yeah, when we go to the streaming platforms and we have an Ishq track, like, they know you and they're looking forward to hearing what you're giving. So I have that because a lot of the people who grew like 10 years ago who were bumping my tunes are now sitting at prestigious job positions. So they're like, oh, of course, I used to bang his tracks and I love his music. I would love, so I have a little bit of that. I have that. But even if so it is a little, I think a little bit along those lines. But even if I didn't, honestly, what I've cultivated in myself is two things. A is that I'm not very attached to the result. What I'm attached to is the process.
Yes.
I disassociate and detach myself from the result.
That
really helps. Another thing that we have to that now, just recently I was listening to an interview and an artist was speaking, a really old, like a 70 or 80-year-old artist was talking about, he was saying that, you know what, you don't, like, even if people don't believe in you, even you don't have to believe in yourself. What you have to do is you have to set goals. The way forward for artists and for them to grow exponentially is through collaboration. I think that a lot of them, the successful ones, have kind of understood this, and they make sure that they collaborate with the right brands, like, you know, that kind of reflect their own internal mission.
Passion is one thing and money is one thing. A lot of talent are disappointed because they cannot merge both the things together. But at the same time, individually, they're both very important. You cannot be living completely on passion and expecting the money to flow in. And, you know, you cannot be completely going crazy, money, 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 and then expect your passion to, you know, take over. How does a young artist figure out a medium or a balance between the two?
So I would honestly encourage young artists to do as many jobs as they can, to just learn the workforce, learn the understanding of what it takes to earn a rupee. You know what I mean? I would suggest that do music in all of your free time. Finish your studies and do a job, do work, and then be consumed with, like, and then let music do everything else. Like, instead of bullshitting with friends or going on motorcycle rides or like whatever, or being involved with too much romantic relationships that don't actually end up going anywhere, invest in your time in the music.
I'm happy that we did no requests together, where we spoke and stood up for DJs. And this time we stood up for Mother Nature. What's your take on the whole thing?
Yeah, I love when music makes you a little more conscious of our environment and help evolve your soul as well as entertain you. Those two things coming together are amazing.
So what makes Ishq happy?
Music makes me happy. Family life makes me happy. Being at home makes me happy.
Yeah. What makes Ishq sad?
Conflict with loved ones. You know, I try not to keep as many, but it's only human to keep expectations. But when expectations are not met, those things kind of make me sad.
What do you fear the most?
I've started fearing, like, getting hurt. Like, the other day I was just throwing around a football with my brother-in-law and my shoulder went out for like a week. It's like, oh shit, I gotta really warm up. So now I'm like realizing, like, more than ever, that how much I have to take care of our bodies, how much we have to take care of our mental health, how much, like, I fear that sometimes I don't understand self-preservation as much. Even though I do, like, eat healthy, there's so many things that come with, like, you know, self-preservation and evolution. So I think I fear, like, stifling of self-evolution.
Yeah. So you make music for yourself or the audience?
I make music definitely for myself.
What's your biggest high?
My biggest high is when I cook a dope dish and my wife is like, yo.
If there was one wish you were granted, what would that be?
It'd be for as much time as I could have with my family, my parents, as possible. That's one wish. 3
advice to young aspiring artists.
Don't be so attached to the result. Make good goals and accomplish your goals. Don't over-focus on the numbers, on your numbers. If you keep your craft up, your numbers will slowly grow.
What makes a good music producer?
A good music producer is someone who's trying to create something that they've never heard before.
What makes a good artist?
A good artist is also somebody who creates something that they've never seen or heard before, but who can also communicate. Communication is very important for artists because our product is like our intellectual property is created from our head, or like, you know, if for painters through their hands, but still through their head, through their soul, through their heart. So you have to keep all those things in mind.
How important is networking?
Number one.
Number one.
Even though I'm horrible at it, I like, as you know, I'm one of those stay in the studio hermits.
Oh, yeah, hermit.
I'm a stay. But it is number one because honestly, who I'm getting work from even now is the people who believe in me, who I've personally worked with. Whether we've earned money together or we've lost tons of money together, we're still working together because of the network that we have created. The relationships. So relationships are number one.
What are your future projects, Ishq? What's coming up? What's happening in the future?
So I'm working on some film stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait for we've done signing and stuff, but I'll kind of wait for it to develop. Right now they're in recce. I've started working on the music. So I'll definitely discuss the film project, like exactly which ones, when we're more clear on when they're coming out. Nowadays, everything is so postponed and crazy that I don't know when it's coming out. But I'm composing for some films. And then on my independent front, I'm going to be releasing a song every 2 weeks for the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm halfway through my Planet Ishq project. Last December, in 12 weeks, from October to December, or September to December, I took 12 weeks, 12 Fridays, and made 12 songs with random people I met on Instagram. I was just literally, I would be live on Instagram and people would be like, you need to hear this, you need to hear this artist, you need to hear this artist. They'd put in the comments and I'd be like, okay, I'd bring that artist on, and literally it was like, ha beta bolna, kya karta hai tu? And then they would start with their guitar or they would start singing or whatever. And I just picked up artists and I collaborated with a bunch of them. So I've been releasing that. That's called Planet Ishq. I'm halfway through the releases on that. 6 of them are done and 6 of them now are slowly rolling out. Yeah. My next album is I'm so freaking excited about. I'm planning to have that recorded by December, this December too. It's called RabbitHole. Yeah. So it's all devotional songs, all devotional in my way.
For all the support you've been giving me, whether it's Niche Radio or No Request or whatever we could do together, and I really, really appreciate it. And I love you tons and I miss you, and thank you so much for taking us through your journey. I'm sure our listeners are going to have a great time understanding your journey and what they need to do now in theirs. So this was just perfect, and I'm thankful and grateful you did this with me.
Thank you for having me, and thank Niche Radio for playing music that you don't hear anywhere else. No request.
Mr. Ishq Bector. Hey. शुरुआत उस कहानी की, किस्सों में बटे हर जुबानी की, लफ्जों पे आके जो इतिहास बना दे, चीर के निकले वो ही मानी भी। इज्जत रखी उसने हर वानी की, तो इज्जत करने लगे सलामी भी। रोके मुश्किलें पर मनमानी की, सांसें रोक डाली बेमानी की। धड़कन बढ़ती हर एक आस में, सांसें चढ़ती हर प्रयास में, मुट्ठी कसती विश्वास से, मेहनत झलके सूखी प्यास में। सपने दिखते खुश मिजाज लिए लेकर, साकार करे सपनों को, बादलों में झलकेंगे अल्फाज मेरे सारे, बदलेंगे दुनिया को, बदलेंगे रिवाज। ये मकमल सा जीवन, ये सुंदर सवेरा, तेरा, ये किलबिल से पंछी जो काटे अंधेरा। हाँ दोस्त ही देते हैं दिल को सहारा, नहीं तो जीना है आवारा। ये सारा ये जीवन था श्रापित, खुदा ने संभाला। जीना जीवन के से माँ ने सिखाया, पापा ने परोसा, दिलासा दिलाया, इन फरिश्तों ने आकर मेरा जीवन सजाया। वो सूरज से सृष्टि मुसाफिर है, मिलते जो जीना हो जाता है आसान। जिन्होंने भी किए मुझ पे एहसान, उनका दिलो जान से हूँ मैं मेहरबान। फरिश्ते जो मिले हैं जीवन के सफर में, उन पे लगाऊं मैं दिल से जान। जिन्होंने भी दिया है दिल से साथ, उनको शुक्रिया, थैंक यू और धन्यवाद।
शुक्रिया है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है, सब मिला है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है।
कई खामियां हौसला बुलंद रखा, सभी हंस दिए तभी हंस के सवर लिया। मिला साहस तो साहस से काम किया, मुश्किल हालातों में धीरज से काम किया। कई हाथों ने मानो ना साथ दिया, जाने अनजाने में मैंने नाराज किया। भले हाथों ने आखिर तक साथ दिया, सपनों को सांझा और अपनों ने सब सिया। सब सीखा मैंने, अब देखा मैंने, मेरे पीछे मेरी फौज है हाँ। ऊपर वाले ने मकसद से भेजा तो मकसद को पाना, हाँ जीना तो शौक है। मिला मौका मुझे सबका भारी में, करूँ काम भारी काम मेरा जारी में। भूला किसको न सब जानकारी में, जुग जुग जियो माए बरसों से गाड़ी।
साथ रहा था आज तक, बहुत सी बातें सिखा गई। हर मूड अलग होता है, सच्चाई लफ्जों में दिखा गई। शुक्रिया मेरा लहजा कहते, झूठा रिश्ता भी मिटा गई। हर गम में जिंदगी को बैठा पर राज जिंदगी मिला गई।
जिंदगी करती कठिन पर बातें वजूद सिखा देता गलती ना गिन। ऑर्गेनिक फील रंगीन, रिस्पेक्ट टू रियलिटी, फिर बनेंगे ड्रीम्स। प्रायोरिटी फैमिली, सपोर्टिव दोस्त, हुड का हर एक होमी। बचपन से बना मैं धीर, झेले सभी ने तकलीफ, आई अप्रिशिएट इट।
शुक्रिया है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है, सब मिला है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है। सब दुआ है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है, शुक्रिया है हाँ दिल से शुक्रिया है। शुक्रिया है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है, सब मिला है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है। सब दुआ है सबको दिल से शुक्रिया है।
थैंक यू, शुक्रिया एंड धन्यवाद।